Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Or is it morning? I hope you won't mind. I'm going to read my text. But as I'm mainly dealing with visual culture, then certainly the image is the most important, not the word I'm telling. But first of all, I would like to thank the conference organizers who asked me to present you a field which is probably quite far from your own professional activities. Namely, it is a field which is dealing with visual cultures and heritage. So I'm planning to show you the ways how ICT could contribute to the art investigation, documentation, and presentation. And actually, the methodology in discipline called technical art history is much broader than and extremely interdisciplinary, including specialists from natural sciences like analytical chemistry or physics or geography or microscopy, etc., etc. But in context of today's conference, I focus on imaging and infotechnology. For the case studies, I've used three magnificent artworks or artists in Estonia. First case is the medieval altarpiece of St. Nicholas Church in Tallinn, made by the Lübeck artist Hermann Rode. Another is the German origin artist called Christian Ackermann, known for Estonian public mainly by the highlight of his oeuvre, grandiose author of Tallinn Cathedral. He was active in Estonia in Baroque period, which means second half of 17th and beginning of 18th century. But beside of the author in Tallinn Cathedral, he made impressive sacral art in many Estonian churches shown on this map. The third case is our ongoing project focusing on the great altarpiece by famous German medieval artist Bert Notke, pride of our heritage in Holy Spirit Church in Tallinn. By means of the methods of natural sciences and ICT, we are investigating and documenting the original materials and detecting the authenticity of the artworks. We are analyzing the handwriting of the artist and the investigation, the condition of the artwork, but also documenting and creating accessibility to the highlights of our visual culture. And as following, I shortly introduce you different imaging techniques used in cultural heritage. By means of wide range of wavelengths, we are able to reveal the layers of artworks which are not visible for naked eye and to detect the hidden side of the artistic creation. For example, X-ray, well known from the medical diagnostics, allows us to investigate the structure of the object, but also to see the inner side and hidden elements of the artwork. In order to carry out the investigation, we collaborate with hospitals, but in case we cannot transport the artwork, like for example the altarpiece of Tallinn Cathedral, the team of Estonian Tax and Custom Board is helping us out. They are usually coming with their portative X-ray equipment, which is everyday basis used in Estonian borders in order to detect contraband, but then they are coming on site of the artwork. If tomographic investigation is needed, sculptures travel to Forensic Science Institute, and by the means of computer tomography, we are able to see X-ray image three-dimensionally. In order to map and document the artworks, different 3D documentation methods are more and more applied in the field of cultural heritage. Here you see the laser scanned Notke's altarpiece in Holy Spirit Church and photogrammetrically scanned Notke's altarpiece or the documented image of it. and the artwork itself. Additionally, each single sculpture can be 3D modeled separately. For example, in context of Akkermann project, we modeled in high resolution almost 200 sculptures made in the workshop of Christian Akkermann. Or another example, here you see 3D documentation of central sculpture of Bert Notke's author, figure of Virgin Mary, which was overpainted in different time periods. During the conservation, the original layer by Bert Notke was revealed, but as the later paint layers from 17th and 19th century have also a high historical value, 3D documentation was the only possibility to preserve them. In addition to new scientific knowledge and precise documentation, ICT can be used also for accessibility to the artwork and to the information gained with our research, both for specialists and for broader public. With each extensive investigation project, we try to launch an open access to information via internet. For example, here you see screen recording of Rode's webpage, which actually were actually two major artworks by famous Lübeck artists, one in Tallinn and another in Lübeck, is presented and compared. Both the visible paint layer and the underdrawing visualized by means of the infrared light. Other example is Christian Akkermann's webpage, where all his works and each single sculpture are made accessible and comparable as a 3D model. The compared sculptures on screen, what you see now, can never physically meet each other, as one is on top of the 10 meters high altar in Tallinn, other in small remote countryside church called Martna. On web, they can be compared and put next to each other. To conclude, I just shortly show you the collaboration partners of this type of projects, which illustrate the multidisciplinarity of the field of technical art history and digital heritage. And certainly ICT is a crucial part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question from audience? I have one. What you told is more or less that kind of combined solution. So you use different type of, let's say, the measurement techniques, physical, chemical techniques, plus informational technology. What are the next steps in this field, meaning the, let's say, the art history and art science as such? Can you imagine how, for example, I don't know, artificial intelligence can imagine the ways how people lived years and centuries ago? Or what is the, let's say, that kind of important aspects of the information technology the art scientists are looking for?
Yeah, actually, you're right. It's not only AI, but already actually it's very much what we are investigating and getting a knowledge via all these natural sciences. ICT is very much about the living of the people once upon a time, or whatever, economic relations, so understanding where the materials came from, let's say, where the gold came to Tallinn in order to create an artwork, or all kind of, it's not only researching artwork itself, but all the context of the artwork. But in future, yeah, who knows?
Yeah, done.
How do we get the young people to go to look at either the virtual reality version or the real one?
So I'll ask that again. How do we get the
Yeah.
young people to look at either the virtual reality one or the real physical one? Because one
Yeah.
could argue that the virtual reality one is more easier to convey, to show to people in Tokyo or San Francisco, but what's the thing to bring them to art?
Yeah, that's good question. It's always my question. If we have all this virtual reality, why you need the real artwork? And being myself a conservator who's always working with the material heritage, I still want to think at least that even with all these IT solutions or making artworks accessible, still it makes sense only when you have a real artwork, and then this physical and virtual, a combination of physical and virtual. And then fortunately, we have not only in Estonia but all over the world a lot of educational programs which are bringing young people to I don't know, museums, churches, and really to see and understand the physical values of the artwork. And then the virtual solutions are certainly something which is just mediating or making it more like fun for them.
Thank you.
If that was
More questions. There is 1 minute time to ask one question more. Yes.
Yeah,
Marko.
I was wondering, what's the percentage of the sacred art in Estonia that has been studied that thoroughly? It's like 10% or less?
Yeah, it's not easy to say the percentage, but it's not that in an everyday basis we are carrying out so thorough research, but I think one of the first projects was this Kristjan Akkermann project I showed you. So in everyday basis we might do some investigation to understand certain aspects, but this is still more the scientific field. So but Kristjan Akkermann made a lot of sacred art, so I would say maybe 2%.
Can I remember correctly that actually Kristjan Akkermann was the person who reused the parts of, so that it's completely medieval recycling artist, so that the parts of the sculptures were reused.
In Kristjan Akkermann didn't do it much, but yes, in some cases you're right. That's very specific knowledge. But historical art in general is reusing the historical art. So very often we find like medieval piece inserted in Baroque church or Baroque building, or
Took away and nailed together in
because
the new
material.
sculpture.
Yeah, because material was
Believe it or
expensive,
not.
so it's not a new idea to recycle things.
Thank you. One question. Yes, please. There is seconds left.
Yes, shortly. It would be interesting to know what the ontologists and epistemologists in art will bring into the ICT field. Not only, learning how ICT supports art style.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all kind of collaboration, and maybe also today's conference will bring another next collaboration in both sides. Yeah.
Low, in my experience here in Estonia. No, that
So, thank you.